Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Schad. I write for Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, managing editor of the Viking Age, and we do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, so you never miss an episode and we can spread the word to the masses. Today's episode, it is a Monday, so we're going to overreact to the Vikings victory to the Texans. Let's not waste any time, Adam. What is your biggest week 3 overreaction after the Vikings pummeled the Houston Texans?
Let's see. What do I got here? What do I want to overreact with? I'm just going to go start off with, all right, here we go. Sam Darnold. He's the best Vikings quarterback since Brett Favre in 2009.
We are slowly going back in time because I said Case Keenum last week, but yes, not to jump all over. There was a little pause, so I wanted to make that clear. Like Case Keenum, Brett Favre, who's next? Dante. There's Fran Tarkenton.
Yep.
Randall Cunningham. Yes.
Yep. We're getting there. We're going back further and further back. But I just think what Sam Darnold has been able to do this season is much more impressive than just putting up, 70% accuracy every week, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a loss. He's incredibly efficient. I think his touchdown percentage this year is over 10%, which is crazy. I think it leads the league too. He also leads the league in touchdown passes. He takes more risks than the previous Vikings starting quarterback, Kirk Cousins. He knows that Justin Jefferson, even if he's covered, he's not really covered. So he can just get him the ball wherever he is. He pretty much, if Kevin O'Connell pretty much tells him where to throw the ball, he's going to throw it. He's not worried about, that guy might not be really wide open. Because he trusts Kevin O'Connell to give him the right play call to make. And he's also in his 6th or 7th year. And this is, he's trying to get his career back on track. And at this point, he's just like, whatever. I don't care. What do I have to lose? Like at this point. So I'm just going to throw balls to Justin Jefferson, throw balls to, Aaron Jones, Jalen Naylor. And who cares? If they pick it off, they pick it off. What are people going to what are they going to do? Tell me I'm bad? They've already been doing that. I think he has a stronger arm than Case Keenum did in 2017. I don't think that's really too debatable. And I don't think Sam Darnold is very concerned about his personal stats or accolades. He's not worried about messing up his passer rating or anything like that for a future contract. And the Vikings offense just runs really well. I don't think there's been a delay of game yet this season by Sam Darnold. Maybe in the first game, but I don't remember him coming out of the huddle and kind of just like looking confused that he didn't know what was going on. And yes, he does at times, have moments where you're like, oh, what are you doing? But so did the previous quarterback, and so did Case Keenum, and so did plenty of other quarterbacks behind him. But the good outweighs the bad with Sam Darnold, and that's my overreaction. Brett Favre, 2009, not Case Keenum, Sam Darnold, 2024. I mean, they're just looking in the mirror at each other.
Well, I mean, this is your new starting quarterback, Vikings fans. You don't pay $10 million to a backup. Well, you shouldn't anyway, right? It's funny how inexpensive
sound like a certain fantasy analyst.
The quarterback position can be when you sign a player that nobody else would dare put under center. And I mean, wins are a quarterback stat. So 56 career starts, 21 wins coming into the season. And we're back to the days of, journeyman quarterbacks propelling the Vikings to new heights that they haven't been in 6 years. So I slept well last night. I don't know about you, Adam, but by the way, that was Paul Charchian's tweet, which now is making the rounds where he freaked out.
This is your quarterback.
Remember when people freaked out over Sam Darnold signing here? Like,
Yes.
Kirk signed with the Falcons before, you know, in like a couple hours later, that Sam Darnold deal was announced. And he was like, "Oh my God, this is what the Vikings do! Oh no,
This is your
Sam
future.
Darnold.
That's what happens when you move on from Kirk Cousins.
He sees ghosts. I don't like this." And it's like, man, okay, we have a future quarterback on the sideline right now with a knee injury. And by the way, we're recording this as Sam Darnold's in an MRI machine getting his knee checked. So I don't know if it's really bad, which kind of looking around, a lot of people don't seem to think it is. But if it's really bad, we'll jump on late, or I'll jump on later, and I'll just
coming
cry
off
with all of
the
you.
JJ McCarthy injury where everyone was like, "Oh, he's fine," and then it's like, "Oh, he's out for the season." Okay. So yeah.
I still think Kevin O'Connell slipped the surgeon $100 and was like, "Hey, you want to do the full procedure?
Just give him a brand new knee."
Yeah, just you know, just clean it up a little bit. No, this is one of the best stories in the NFL so far. You know, this is a guy who's been crapped on and like Vikings fans rightfully crapped on him when they signed him because that's all we knew. We knew him from New York, we knew him from Carolina, and the whole talk about this is the best infrastructure that Sam Darnold has ever had, you know, it kind of got ad nauseum. Like, all right, we get it. Like the Jets and Panthers sucked, but it's starting to come true. And this infrastructure is not at 100% because it doesn't have TJ Hawkinson. It doesn't have Jordan Addison. Like, if Sam Darnold stays healthy, what is the ceiling for this offense? Because I think it's pretty damn high, even though they only had, I mean, they didn't even have 300 yards yesterday. I think it was like 270 something. I got it in my outline, but I'll go over it later with another point I'm going to make. But I mean, that's the scary part. This offense isn't even at its final form. And if Hawkinson and Addison come back without any setbacks, this could be a really good team. As a matter of fact, do you mind if I go into my overreaction? This is the best team in the NFL. And I listen to the Audible podcast, and they always talk about windows, right? Like there's certain windows throughout the season you want to buy, like Jordan Mason, RB1, while Christian McCaffrey is hurt. You want to buy that. I am buying all the Viking stock as the best team in the NFL right now because there's a lot going on. All due respect, Seattle Seahawks 3-0, you know, Kansas City Chiefs 3-0. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers 3-0. This is the best team in the NFL right now because the Texans rolled into US Bank Stadium on Sunday as the toast of the AFC. And then the Vikings jumped on top of them and just punched them in the face for 60 minutes. It was incredible. Houston was held to 296 total yards. Jonathan Grenard, #revenge game. He had 3 sacks. #revenge game. Camus Groiger. Like we were sitting here on Friday just like, oh my God, Ivan Pace is out. What's going to happen? Groiger Hill's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. He had an interception on like the first drive of the game. Yep. And Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs were basically non-existent. CJ Stroud, he had plenty of issues. And the Vikings, here's the other thing the Vikings did. They finished drives with touchdowns, not just field goals, but they put their team, they were up 14-0 by the end of the first quarter, before you could even blink. And in that atmosphere, you know, the Vikings running game too, we'll talk about that in a moment, but it's the best it's been since Mike Zimmer was fired. When I look at what the Vikings have done this season, yeah, you go to New York and you beat Daniel Jones, who actually has looked competent the last 2 weeks because he's like, I have Malik Neighbors on my team. I should throw him but former Viking legend Malik Neighbors, by the way, you know, almost was a Viking. Oh man, imagine they would have drafted Malik. Justin Jefferson is going to ask for a trade if Kirk Cousins is gone. By the way, he seems okay with Sam Darnold. But they won.
You're just getting it all. It's just like
it is just a word vomit coming out on the show right now. But I mean, they win in New York, which isn't an easy place to play, by the way. They beat a 49ers team who was down Christian McCaffrey, but they had most of their guys. And then they dominated a Texans team that everybody was drooling over coming into Sunday. Then look at the rest of the league too. You know, the greatest show on turf, Clint Kubiak. Yeah. Didn't look so great against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Bucks went and got smoked by Bo Nix yesterday. That was unexpected. The Seahawks have played New England, Denver, and Miami down Tua Tagovailoa, who, hey, I didn't hear no bell ring, but that's another conversation. And then give me the Vikings offense over Pitt's offense, because I just explained to you this isn't even their final form. Like, we don't need the refs or Kirk Cousins to win games either, like another team down in Kansas City. Yes, you have the greatest quarterback ever, but bring Steve Spagnuolo's defense, bring your bank robbing Chiefs fans, bring all of your Swifties, your millions and millions of Swifties watching Taylor's boyfriend do absolutely nothing in the first 3 weeks. This is the best team in the NFL, and I am ready to die on that hill right now. Maybe next week, maybe I'm sitting here in a different position next week, but this looks like the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, and I don't think you can really argue against it. I've seen some people still be like, "Oh, the Lions are the best team in the NFC," and it's like, no, they're not. The Vikings are the most complete team. I think you mentioned all those other undefeated teams. The Vikings offense is good. The Vikings defense is good. The Vikings special teams is good. Their kicker just hit a 57, 58-yard field goal yesterday. I don't think he's missed a field goal yet this year. Yeah, acknowledge him. Yeah, I was going to have the exact same take before I saw your overreaction. So we are on the same page. They are the best team in the NFL after 3 weeks. Now, a lot can change. There's still 14 games left to go. And I think a lot of people are waiting kind of for, the floor to cave in for the Vikings. But at this point, there's no reason to believe that they can't continue what they're doing. And I even saw someone who was like, "Well, they got a tough stretch of schedule coming up." And it's like, this was this was supposed to be the tough part of the schedule. So like,
we have to go to Tennessee next.
That's not a thing anymore. Like opponents, like they proved yesterday. Like C.J. Stroud, he threw 5 interceptions all of last season. He threw 2 yesterday. So he threw almost 50% of the entire interceptions he had last year when everyone was, drooling all over him. He threw 2 interceptions. He turns the ball over like so infrequently. For the Vikings to get 2 interceptions off of him is very impressive. They were clearly trying to get Diggs the ball. I think he had 10 catches for like 90 yards yesterday. But yeah, the defense is just, I think the defense is farther ahead than the offense right now. But that's because they've had more guys that have just been in that system for over a year now, and they know what to do, and they're just clicking on, all cylinders. But yeah, I think if you put, if the Vikings are in a neutral setting, let's say I don't know, the Cardinals Stadium, and they have to play, maybe the best good about their chances at this point in the season. But like I said, there's still a lot of season to go. Things could change. But yeah, right now, I like, what is the argument that they're not the best team in the NFL? Like, because Sam Darnold is the quarterback? Oh, you mean the guy who's leading the league in touchdown passes and passer rating? That guy? Like, because they can't run the ball? Oh, you mean Aaron Jones, who had over, 149 total yards yesterday? Like, because their defense isn't good? No, it looks like they're leading the league in sacks, 16 sacks. No, it must be their kicker. Nope, he's made all his kicks, and he makes them from 55 plus. So
how far would he have made that from?
Right,
Like,
because
did
it
you
hit
see
at the
how
middle
far
of the
up that
crossbar.
was?
Yeah,
And granted,
yeah.
it hit the post and went in, but whatever, it went in.
70,
So
probably 70.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say 80. I was like, it's a little far.
Whatever. That
But
couple Coors
and we
Lights
haven't
at
even
US
mentioned
Bank
the
Stadium adds a
coach,
little
Kevin
something to it.
O'Connell. Like, I've seen a lot of people be like, he's in the running for coach of the year, and it's like, yeah. And this is like, this leads into my next overreaction, which is, if the Vikings are offered, even if the Vikings are offered a first-round pick, they should not trade Sam Darnold this year, because this is the NFL. It's one of the most unpredictable leagues and sports in the world. If you're playing well, you ride that out. You don't like if the Vikings are 5-1 before the trade deadline, they're like, oh well, the Dolphins are offering a first round pick for Darnold. We should probably just let him go and plan for the future. No, if you're doing very well, you need to ride it out and see how far you can go. Because did the Eagles think they were going to win the Super Bowl after Carson Wentz got hurt and Nick Foles had to fill in? Probably not at first, but they kept, playing very well and they rode it out and they won a Super Bowl. So like, we just don't know what's going to happen in the future, and you can't prevent yourself from reaching like a goal like that. If the Vikings are playing like the best team in the NFL with Sam Darnold, you have to keep him here regardless of how much, other desperate teams are willing to give you for him, because you just don't know. Like look at the Niners. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They're 1-2 now. And who knows, if there's been plenty of teams to make the Super Bowl, lose the Super Bowl, and the next year not even make the playoffs or even win the Super Bowl. The Broncos in 2015 won the Super Bowl, didn't even make the playoffs next year. So like, if you're playing well, you have to see how far you can take it. And it doesn't matter if a team's like, well, we'll give you 1 or 2 first-round picks and you could help you in the future. No, who cares about the future? Because right now, you got to focus on what you're doing right now. And right now, the Vikings, championship isn't like this crazy word to use with this team. So don't trade Sam Darnold, even if a team's like, we'll give you a first-round pick. No.
At this, I mean, I'm going to sound hypocritical right now because last November, the Vikings had Daniil Hunter and everybody's like, dude, you should trade him. And like, everybody's like, you're going to destroy the locker room. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of guys would have understood it. Like, hey, Kirk just blew his ACL.
Was Daniil Hunter like this vocal guy in the locker room too? I don't think he was. Very quiet, gentle giant.
Yeah. But I mean, it wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, trading Sam Darnold. Here's the other thing. Like, people have already talked to me. Like, I was in the office yesterday, and one of my coworkers says to me, he goes, "Would you even think about re-signing Sam?" No. Because this is what happens. Like right now, Sam Darnold's being tricked up by everything around him, which I'm not taking credit away from Sam Darnold. He is playing out of his mind right now, and it's great. But like Kevin O'Connell is doing things with Sam Darnold right now. What is he going to do with JJ McCarthy, a guy with a very strong arm that's even more mobile than Sam Darnold and
younger?
Yeah. And they talked about him too. Judge Zolgad of Purple Daily mentioned this during camp that, guys gravitated towards JJ. Yeah. Like he had an it factor as far as the leader goes. And could JJ McCarthy not be what we think he is when he comes off an injury? Sure. Like that can happen. But then you just draft another quarterback and you try and that's what teams should do, is like they should just keep drafting quarterbacks until they hit. I think, trading Sam, I didn't even think about trading Sam Darnold. You're 3-0 right now. I think the point I was trying to make, I'm kind of walking in circles right now, but last year you're 4-4 with your starting quarterback out. Yes, it makes sense to ship off pieces. Right now you're 3-0, the best team in the NFL. Like I just got done saying, and no, you ride this out. You ride this out throughout the year, and Sam Darnold walks away for nothing, whatever. You get a fun season out of him. Like the Vikings' goal is to be competitive. Like yes. Look at how everybody reacted when Sam Darnold went down holding his knee yesterday. Right. Like he's like, oh my God, here comes Nick Mullins. And like, you could just hear like shoot to thrill blasting in your brain because it's on his, just like, all right, coach, let's go. I got this. I've been waiting for this my whole life. What you want to throw it 90 yards downfield? Nick, we're on the 30. No, man, 90 yards, full send, baby. I'm good. Yeah, I'm not trading Sam Darnold right now. I'm not re-signing him either. This is a one-night stand for Vikings fans. Like this is not a long-term marriage. This is, hey, let's hook up and never talk to each other again. Actually, Kwesi's relationships are non-transactional. He's mentioned that several times. Louis Cine has his number, actually. So there is that.
Was he with the Bills?
I don't know where he is. Best of luck to him, though. I think he is with the Bills practice.
Is Andrew Boots still with the Cowboys?
They look great, huh?
Seems like it.
They got and it wasn't the pass defense. They just got ran over where Zim's somewhere like just with a double decker and
Mike
just
Zimmer's defense, always known to be good against mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, about that. Speaking of running the ball, here's my next overreaction. The Aaron Jones revenge tour is the only thing that might be as good as the defense right now. Maybe I would rank defense, Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones in that order.
Will Reichard right after that.
Will, right? Yes, actually, Will Reichard number one. Like screw the D. Like every time. I was sad the first time they passed up a field goal because I was like, I want to see him try from 58, and then they went for it on 4th and 1, and I was like, oh, and then he got a 58-yarder later, and I was like, yes, that's my tribal chief. Justin Tucker probably can't hit from 58 right now. Nope. Hey, Harrison Butker.
Harry Butt.
Wife's probably not going to make him a sandwich after missing that extra point last night. Yeah, your role is to make no. I saw your kick, honey.
Did you see what Falcons fans were holding up? They were holding up like pictures of Susan B. Anthony in the stands. Yeah.
Geez.
Pretty good.
But Aaron Jones, the Aaron Jones revenge tour is pretty damn good. He signs with the Vikings. He gets a purple sombrero immediately, which is like a tip to his upbringing at El Paso, where he's from. Yes. So he hyped up how much he loves the skull chant. The dude looks like he's having sometimes guys sign with a rival team and it feels like an act, like Greg Jennings, but I feel like Aaron Jones is genuinely having fun right now. Also a big WWE fan. I have to point that out.
Oh, yeah.
But he mentioned this yesterday, and this is from Alec. Oh, it went off for me. There we go. You can tell I'm old. I'm struggling with my phone. Alec Lewis of The Athletic quoted him. He said, Aaron Jones said this. It's different than anything I've been a part of. I can't put my finger on what is that different or what it is that's different because I've been a part of good teams, but this is a special team. I've had this conversation with my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what it is. Now, the Vikings are paying Aaron Jones, so that's part of it. But, he is performing above my expectations on the field. 228 yards total, 5.4 yards per attempt. 12 catch. He's a factor in the passing game. 12 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. And as of last week, and it might have gone up after yesterday's performance, the Vikings were averaging 5 yards a carry on first down. When we talk about how Sam Darnold is performing, 2nd and 5 is a great spot to put your quarterback in compared to where they were last year, where they were 2nd and 8 or worse. The washed allegations don't look to be true. He's 30 years old, though, so we'll see if he holds up. But so far, I am enjoying the Aaron Jones revenge tour, which goes to Green Bay next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, you think he'll be motivated at all next week? And I think Kevin O'Connell is probably going to be motivated to get him the ball. He's hoping to give Aaron Jones another game ball after next week.
He's got three. He's 3 for 3 in game balls, right?
I think last week Kevin O'Connell gave everyone a game ball.
Yeah, and he got one in week 1.
So I guess he would count as everyone. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
He is on the team, Adam. Yes.
Well, yes.
Rumors are true.
Yeah, it's been when you go through the first 2 years under Kevin O'Connell, where year 1 they had Dalvin Cook and he had some explosive runs, but for the most part it was basically running to the middle of the line and gain 1 or 2 yards, and then it got even worse last year with Alexander Mattison, who has 3 touchdowns this year, by the way, with the Raiders. I think he has less than 3 yards, but he still has 3 touchdowns. But it's just watching, as Vikings fans, at least our age, we're used to the Vikings having a solid rushing attack, whether it's Robert Smith or Adrian Peterson. Chester Taylor had his run before Peterson got there. Then you had Dalvin Cook come in, and during his prime, he was awesome. So now you got Aaron Jones, who was drafted in the same draft as Dalvin Cook, which is pretty funny. He's coming in, and he's just added a whole, a breath of fresh air to the Vikings rushing attack, which, makes things so much easier for not only Sam Darnold, but Justin Jefferson, the offensive line. Like their play action is so good right now because teams are actually concerned about the Vikings running the ball because Aaron Jones has been able to gain positive yards on almost every time he touches the ball. They have a screen game now with Aaron Jones, which is not something you could say the past 2 years. The hope is just that he can stay healthy because he's known to get a little banged up during the year. But I think the Vikings aren't putting too much of a workload on his shoulders. Ty Chandler's mixing in pretty good, pretty well in there, also. So, but yeah, I expect him to be a focal point of the Vikings game plan next week. I don't know why, but maybe he'll get to do the bank vault in Lambeau.
Well, if you're confident about Aaron Jones's usage next week, I mean, Vikings football isn't stressful enough, so you could put a little something on the game at Underdog Fantasy. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got into the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money by just choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. I have used Underdog for years, and I had a nice little Sunday. Thought about all the opportunities that Adam Thielen was going to get with Andy Dalton under center. And I decided to go higher on 3.5 receiving yards in the first quarter. And guess what? The opportunities came through. You can cash in on all of the opportunities by just heading over to Underdog. Simple to use mobile app on underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code The Age, which you see at the bottom of the screen is just one word. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus catch match when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code The Age to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. You must be 18 plus, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply, void in Colorado. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. And in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. All right, Adam, last overreaction for you. Let's make it a good one.
This is non-Vikings related because we just like to mix in something else that went happen in week 3. So I've got Travis Kelce. You mentioned him earlier. You're a big fan of his.
That's my heart.
The Chiefs tight end. I think he's played for the Chiefs during his NFL career. He's going to retire after this season. He's got 8 catches, 69 yards. Nice. No touchdowns this year in 3 games. 8 catches in 3 games. This is coming off a season last year where he had his first, season under 1,000 yards since the beginning of his career when he wasn't even a starter with the Chiefs. He'll be 35 in October. The Chiefs will free up. Here's the kicker. The Chiefs will free up $17 million if they release or trade him after this season or he retires. I don't know what the terms would be if he retires, if something similar to him being released. But his contract is set up for him to walk away if he wants to after this season. He has, of course, lots of going on outside of the NFL. I believe he's starring in a new TV show on like FX or something. He's got a beer company. Of course, he has the podcast. He's got his, supporting his musical icon of a girlfriend. And I'm pretty sure whenever he retires, every ESPN, NBC, CBS, all of them, Amazon are going to be fighting tooth and nail to sign Travis Kelce as either, I would say he'd probably be a studio analyst and not somebody who wants to be in the booth. Who knows? But I would see that. But yeah, he's not it. It's not. I don't know if he was just doing too much in the offseason and not focusing on football or defenses are really, ganging up on him. I don't think that's the case. I just think he's reached the end, and luckily for him, he has a lot to look forward to after football. So it's not a terrible thing, but yeah, I just think it's He's reached. This is his final season in the NFL.
That ad was very weird for the horror like show because it's like Academy Award winner, so and so Academy and Travis Kelce, huh? Like that was something I didn't expect. I think
it's made by like the director of American Horror Story. I don't know if you ever watched that before.
Mm-hmm.
And he always seems to have like weird people in his shows. Like I think Kim Kardashian was in one, Lady Gaga was in one season. So like they like to mix in their random celebrities.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know. I think part of my problem with him is that he looks like Mojo Raleigh. Although maybe it's just
with
the
mustache.
Yeah, just like I don't know. Maybe it's that bro energy coming from him. But I've already gone over my hate. My mom actually is playing fantasy football for the first time this year, and Travis Kelce is her tight end, and she's not real thrilled with him right now.
Should have picked Johnny Munt.
The world, they don't call him the world's third best tight end for nothing, folks.
Yeah.
That trick play too, where what was it? It was a reverse into a into a flea flicker, bomb to Johnny Munt.
Pass interference. It worked.
I mean, yeah, pass interference. He didn't connect on it, but I was like, when the play was over and it didn't get intercepted, I was like, that was awesome.
I was like, why is Johnny Munt the target? And I was like, probably because they didn't think anyone was going to follow Johnny Munt down the field.
He's the world's best third tight end in the National Football League. So,
so
I think you're right, though. And I mean, it could also be, Rashee Rice had 14 targets last night. And like eventually defense are like, all right, we're taking away Travis Kelce. We got to like focus on Rashee Rice because he's kicking our ass. And things might open up for Travis down the line. It might not help fantasy football teams who are already 0-3 like my mom's, but
he could just be doing some load management and wait until the playoffs.
Sure. And I mean, that's at age 34. That's probably the best right now.
Yeah,
but
ask Adam Thielen, who's out with a hamstring injury now.
He died for my bankroll, Adam. I appreciate his service. Let's go on to my final overreaction. It is outside of the Vikings realm, but not really. Matt LaFleur is a fraud. Matt LaFleur is a fraud. Everybody can't believe what's going on with Malik Willis. Oh my God, 202 yards, a passing touchdown. And he ran for 70 and another touchdown. Hashtag revenge game, right? It's pretty good until you consider that there are 6.5 yards averaged at the target. And he was playing the Tennessee Titans, who aren't very good.
What? Well, Levis is great. What are you talking about?
He just got that Mayo money, bro.
Yeah.
You want to talk like doppelgangers? Will Levis looks like Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball to me. I don't know. Maybe it was like the Bo Callahan thing he put on during the draft. Where he's like sitting there, he gets drafted by the Titans. He's like screaming at the TV, like, yeah! And it's like, don't want that quarterback.
Like he pulls something out of his pocket. He's like, oh, what's this? A birthday party invitation? What's this?
Yeah. Not great. Malik Willis, by the way, like people are like, how can Malik Willis do this? Well, in his rookie year, he took Pat Mahomes to the brink on Sunday Night Football. Now, part of that might have been Mike Vrabel's defense, but I mean, nobody wants to mention that. He was just completely trashed. Green Bay also ran the ball 37 times in that game. And maybe you could say, hey, the Vikings should have done this when they were relying on Josh Dobbs last year, but they also couldn't run the ball because Alexander Madison was their lead back. So that was kind of a problem. Meanwhile, Kevin O'Connell with Sam Darnold, as we mentioned, he threw for 4 touchdowns yesterday. The entire state of Minnesota held their breath when he was holding his knee. He is, I believe, the 5th highest quarterback graded by Pro Football Focus right now. And, look, again, there are weapons coming, but they're nothing compared to Christian Watson, who is more talented than Justin Jefferson, or like Jaden Reed or Tucker Kraft, go Jacks. Dallas Goedert, big South Dakota State alum, big game for the Jacks last night. But I mean, like, Packer fans just blow my mind because they will latch on to the most obscure player ever and just try and talk you into Him being this photo here, part of the reason I bought it is because I used to have a friend who would praise Demarius Randall for the way he opens his hips. Like it's all in the hips, like Chubbs used to say. And his hips are definitely open as Stephon Diggs is catching a ball right over his dome. Yep. Jeff Janis, remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Like Eddie Lacy. Hey, Eddie Lacy's lost weight, everybody. He's sucking his gut in for this photo. Yeah.
Robert Tonyan.
Vodka and chicken nuggets, buddy.
Robert Tonyan, too.
Yeah.
Current Viking.
Big fun Bobby. Also, now a former Viking. Robert Tonyan revenge tour. I know who I would rather have working with my QB of the future. And I know Jordan Love's probably coming back because on the third game he rose again, right? Believe in Aaron Rodgers and you shall have Jordan Love. Yes. I can't wait for Brian Flores to just kick the shit out of that team. Like I know that's like full fan. That's kind of what this podcast. It's a fan podcast. If you're looking for high level, X's and O's, whatever, I'm sorry. I want to see the Vikings go to Green Bay and beat the living hell out of that team because I am already annoyed with Matt LaFleur the Packers could go like 9-8 and Matt LaFleur might get coach of the year over Kevin O'Connell. I don't know.
Look what he did.
Yeah. Look, Malik Willis for 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah. The Packers are facing the Vikings defense next week, which currently ranks 2nd in the NFL. In rushing yards allowed. So they're not going to be the Titans. They're not going to be the Colts last week, who I think they ran the ball 53 times against the Colts. So the Vikings, you can expect the Vikings to put, 9 or 10 guys in the box and be like, go right ahead, Malik Willis, see if you can beat us. But at the same time, even if Jordan Love is playing, you can guarantee they're going to bring pressure on him to see, let's see how that knee's working, Jordan. Let's see if you can move around in the pocket. But yeah, I'm curious to see how next week goes. Packers and Vikings are always fun. Matt LaFleur, I'll cut him some slack here. Like it's a little impressive with the game plans that he's come up with to win with Malik Willis. It does remind me kind of last year when the Vikings did have Josh Dobbs and they beat the Falcons and Saints in those 2 games, where If Malik Willis was playing a handful of more games, it'd be hard to extend their success probably. But for this short little stint, they've been able to get the most out of Malik Willis. And yes, it does help that they played 2 of the worst teams, what it looks like in the NFL, and in the Colts and Titans. Did the Titans win it? Have they won a game? No. They're 0-3, and the Colts are 0-3 too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they both lost to the Colts won yesterday. They beat the Bears. The Bears.
They played like they lost, but yes.
Right.
Go on.
So, yeah. I don't know, Mom. I've never been a huge fan of Matt LaFleur. I've always thought he has, reaped the benefits of guys like Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. I do think the Packers defense is good. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do against Sam Darnold and Aaron Jones. Hey guys, Vikings players, wear the right cleats on Sunday. Okay, who cares what you look like? Because oh man, and they're going back to the site of Kirk Cousins' torn Achilles. Last time they were there is when Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and the world crumbled and Kirk Cousins is gone.
We would have won the Super Bowl if Kirk never got hurt.
Yep. I don't have an extra hot take today. Can't think of one other than Syracuse. The dream is over. Lost to Stanford on Friday, but
Stanford and Cal are going to be in the ACC.
They are in the ACC. It's so
no, they're going to wait. They're going to compete for the title.
I know Cal's good actually.
Yeah.
That's don't call yourself the Atlantic Coast Conference when you have Stanford and Cal, and you just change the name.
I got duped a little bit with a fake athletic account, but it was like USF was joining the Pac-12, and I was like, "All right, we just need to go. We just need to go to beer sponsors for the conferences. Like
What did they
the
have?
Bush League. Like, how cool would the Bush League sound? Just like
Didn't hockey have like? Did they have soup sponsors?
so they had sponsors for each division
Or like
in the
Campbell's.
pandemic season.
Oh, okay.
So
I
like
thought
the Wild were in the Discover West division with because like the Canadian teams couldn't cross the border during COVID, and like it was super weird. Like I think they had to quarantine like 2 weeks before they could come to Vegas for this, because it's Montreal and Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals, and then yeah. So
Oh, okay.
Vegas?
I thought I thought
Can't even remember.
the Western conference in the NHL used to be called the Campbell Conference. I thought it was.
Oh, but that's like a former player.
I know. I
Yeah.
just looked it up. I thought it was
Yeah.
that was after the soup.
Oh yeah.
That's like
So the North Stars, I almost called them the Wild. The North Stars were in the Norris division.
Yeah.
And that was like Blackhawks, Red Wings, and like every game was like a bloody street. It's Bill Guerin's wet dream. Just everybody fights and shows grit, and Wild season in 2 weeks. All right.
You're excited. Yeah.
Shout out to the Minnesota Twins for I think the Twins are so bad because they had plans to watch the Vikings in October. That's my random take, because I don't know. They're done.
Padres.
It's time. Yeah. I inspired the Padres. I showed up and the Twins were like, "Hey, Chris is here. We better start losing." And the Padres were like, "Look at that guy. Yeah. I'm gonna that 9-year-old who effed me to no oblivion. He's probably very happy right now.
Padres and Dodgers this week, I think.
Big series. Yeah. It's time for a new segment that we started last week, where we pick one person, Vikings or non-Vikings, to acknowledge. It's a little segment called Acknowledge Him. Adam, who are you acknowledging this week?
I thought about Will Reichard, but I feel like that's just a given. He's always acknowledged.
He's always acknowledged.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Jalen Naylor, wide receiver, Vikings. He's the modern day Chris Carter. All he does is catch touchdowns. He has 3 touchdowns in 3 games, just like Justin Jefferson. I believe I saw yesterday that Naylor and Jefferson are the first Vikings receiver duo in team history to each catch at least 3 touchdowns in their first 3 games. Looking back at the duos that they've had, that's pretty good. When Jordan Addison went out in the middle of week 1, people were like, "Oh, okay, I guess Jalen Naylor will fill in. We'll see what he can do." He's come up pretty big. He has 7 catches. All 7 of them have either been touchdowns or resulted in first downs. So I think he's doing pretty well. He's come up a couple times in the clutch. I believe last week when they were playing the Niners and Jefferson was out, Naylor just switched to the number 1 role, and Darnold had that crazy throw that zipped an inch over the Niners defender's head right into Naylor's breadbasket. I just think Naylor's played really well, especially in the red zone. He's found a way to just get open back there, and I acknowledge you, Jalen Naylor.
Well, I'm going to go off the grid. I'm not going to acknowledge one person. I'm going to acknowledge 66,843 people, because that is the sellout crowd that was at US Bank Stadium that absolutely brought it on Sunday. The game was never in doubt, so that helps, but 4 straight pre-snap penalties on a Texans drive in the second quarter. I thought CJ Stroud was going to cry and piss his pants at one point. Stephon Diggs is on the sideline. Everybody's like, "Oh, bad teammate." No, he's like, "Dude, you all need to calm down. Like this is nuts." But the Vikings won 2 games at US Bank Stadium last year. And in the first 2 games this year, I know there were a lot of red jerseys in the stand for the 49ers game. That might have been people selling their tickets before the season started, where it was kind of no expectations. And they're like, we'll just get our money. Mm-hmm. Yesterday was pretty much all Vikings fans, and they were insane. So 66,843 people. I love you. I acknowledge you. That was a very bad Jacob Batu impression, but
I think to their home games, and a lot of them, at least in the beginning, they would start on their first drive and kind of I just looked up and like the whole crowd would get deflated because Madison or Hawkinson or Josh Oliver would fumble the ball, and the other team would score like immediately because they get the ball on the Vikings 20-yard line, and everyone would be like, "All right, here we go again." Whereas this year, it's like the Vikings are they got a pick on the first drive, they get a touchdown on their first offensive drive. The defense is super fun to watch. Sam Darnold's slinging bombs out there. Justin Jefferson's catching touchdowns. Aaron Jones is running wild. Like, there's just a lot to like about this team, and I think the enthusiasm just seeps into the fan base.
You know what it is? They don't give a fuck. They do, like, seriously. That's the perfect way to describe this team, because
they're playing free.
Yes, that's the G-rated term. That's the term that probably gets us monetized. But I mean, they don't give an F right now. They look at, Sam Darnold's just like, you mentioned it at the top of the show. What are they going to do? I'm going to be on a different team next year. All right, I'm just going to sling this. Yeah. Brian Flores, F it, we ball every damn play. Like, honestly, I think that's part of it.
Sue me?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Sue me? You can't hurt me.
All right.
Like, I think the best part about the Vikings is they do not give an F right now. And that's what's propelled them a little bit much. I mean, throughout Chris Boyd again, also on the Texans, but did not play. What's that?
He signed autographs though.
He did
after the game. Because he was, highly sought after. Chris Boyd.
Is he getting?
I think people were calling over Stephon Diggs, and Chris Boyd just like followed behind him. Was like, "Oh yeah, I'll sign too." Like,
is he trying to get Pro Bowl votes again while he's injured, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
well, the Vikings over under was 6.5, so like they're halfway there. So it sucks that they're only gonna be able to win like three or four more games, but
just gonna be a bit of a dragger here from here on out.
It was a good run.
Let's do this quickly. We got a very limited amount of time. I'll just ask you because I'll give some more Vikings Packers thoughts a little bit later in the week. But what are you looking forward to on Sunday?
Well, it's Vikings Packers. It's always fun. So I'm always looking forward to that. I'm glad that it's not later in the season. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be a noon start time. Kirk Cousins once again is like, what the heck? He had to play another primetime game last night, which they almost won.
Great opening drive by Kirk.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Brian Flores' team can do on a grass field. It seems weird to kind of say, but they played on turf in New York. They played on turf in US Bank Stadium. Can they keep it up on the grass field? I know the Packers grounds crew is known to be like, oh, this grass looks like it needs a little extra water today. So be careful of that. I want to see Sam Darnold in a what not volatile, but like a tough setting.
Adverse.
I wouldn't call MetLife Stadium, this difficult place to play for opponents where Lambeau is. It's a historic venue. It's always sold out, whether they're playing the Titans or not. So I think it's going to be a good game. I'm expecting Jordan Love to play, and I'm interested to see how the Vikings will defend him. Whether they're going to make him run around with that injured knee, which I think would be a good idea. And is he going to hurt them with his arm, or is he going to, be forced into throwing turnovers like the Vikings have done with, again? And I think they have they had an interception in every game? I think they have. Against Daniel Jones, Brock Purdy, and C.J. Stroud. So there's a lot to look forward to. I think it's going to be close. It's the NFC North battle. I think it'll be 24-20 Vikings.
All right. I will make my prediction later in the week. Do a little research. Find a guest for Friday. Hopefully talk a little bit about that. I'm excited for Malik Willis or Jordan Love to come get this work, because I don't know.
You think Jordan Addison should come back or wait another week?
Do you need him?
No.
I don't think you need him right now. And it's going to be, I mean, he looked really good before he went out in that Giants game, but you're 3-0 right now. You got a little bit of leeway. I mean, if you're on the fence, you're kind of like, I don't know, maybe. I mean,
And I think they
honestly,
get Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner says he's going to play next Sunday. He'll be back. We'll have to keep an eye on Sam Darnold.
Can you wait through the bye? I think you can.
For Addison, they should have put him on IR by then.
Yeah.
So I would think he's either going to return this week or against the Jets.
It's also not like the Twins where like you're down a bench player if you sit with a guy on the bench.
And then after this week, Hawkinson's eligible to come back.
Yes. Although I think Detroit game's going to be maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing well right now without him.
Just Kirby Joseph coming into the US Bank Stadium, just absorbing the booze, and all of a sudden, by God, it's TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson is back. Just like jump him in the tunnel or something. You took me out. I don't know.
Listen,
2 years until SummerSlam at US Bank.
Those Lions Vikings games are going to be super fun this year.
Dan Campbell, you son of a bitch. Tell me why. Why?
Dude, does NFC North have like 3 of the best coaches in the NFL? I know you just called Matt LaFleur a fraud, but
he's a very good coach.
And then do they have
he's a fraud as a quarterback whisperer.
And do they have the worst coach in Matt Eberflus?
It's like the meme with like it's got the 3 dragons
snakes,
and like
the dragons, yeah.
They're like 2 of them are, or one's looking super mean, the other one's mean but like has a side eye, and the other one's like, you know. Hey, what's going on at the Viking Age?
We'll be recapping everything to come out of yesterday's 27-point win by the Vikings. We'll be probably looking at some power rankings around the league to see where other people view them. I have seen one already that has the Lions ahead of the Vikings still, and I just don't understand that. And then we'll be, focusing on injuries throughout the week. Keep an eye on what Sam Darnold's going on with him. Hopefully the MRI comes back positive today. Not positive, negative. Positive results. And then we'll be getting in the swing. It'll be Packer week, and I'm sure we'll look back at some stuff that's happened against the Packers in the past and keep an eye on everything going on with Jordan Love too. So go check it out, VikingAge.com. Follow Viking Age on Facebook and Twitter, and follow me, Adam Patrick NFL, on X and Threads.
Well, you got his social social handle. He is Adam Patrick. I am Chris Schad at The Real Chris Schad, Instagram, Threads, and X. But we're out of time for the Viking Age today. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age Podcast.